Hi and welcome back to Apple Cottage. This is Sandy. Today we're talking about growing apples from seeds. What do you think about these? I did this for my granddaughter. So funny. Woo! Okay, got to switch. Now, apples are like parents. When two apples come together, they make baby apples. But every single seed in every single apple is different. Sometimes that makes a good apple, sometimes that makes a bad apple, but you don't know until you grow it. And here at Apple Cottage, I love growing apples. Not just for, trees or SCIONs that I've grafted, but also from seeds. One of my favorite places to buy seeds from is Skillcult. Now he does videos on apples, and I will link him below. He also does a lot of videos on making axes and trials using charcoal and just a lot of stuff. He's out of California and he knows his stuff. So I'm going to link that below. But I buy apple seeds from him each year. And so they come in little packets and it says what they're crossed with. So today I'm just going to show you me planting two of them. I'm going to do a cherry cox crossed with an Appaloosa. And I'm also going to do a Trailman apple crossed with a Pendragon. Is that a cool name for an apple or what? So I'm going to put the camera down and I am just going to get started. Growing apples from seeds is really easy. One thing you have to do is stratification. Now stratification is when you take your apple seeds, and like these ones have sawdust in them, but a lot of times I'll just use a potting mix, and you put them in your refrigerator for at least 60 days to cold stratify them, because the apple seeds think they've gone through the winter, and so then it's ready to sprout. Once in a while when you buy an apple from the store, it's actually sprouting. It's got a little sprout coming out. You could plant those right away because they've been in cold storage, because the apples you get in the grocery store are not fresh. Sorry to burst your bubble, but they are not fresh. They have been in cold storage for a very long time. So I just have a mixture of potting soil and I put some worm castings in this. Now when I start my vegetable seeds, I don't have worm castings in here, but these are going to stay in here a little bit longer, and I want to make sure that they have some good nutrients. So this is not just a potting soil, it's a potting soil compost mix, and then I added some worm castings. So I'm going to move the camera down. So as you can see, I have my two pots, and all of these seeds, like this is the cherry cox and Appaloosa, are going to get planted in one container. The reason why I'm doing that is that sometimes apple seeds don't germinate. Sometimes every single one of them will germinate. But it's just an easy way. I keep them, they start to sprout, and once they start getting some leaves, then I can take them out of here and put them in a bigger container before I put them in a nursery bed. Now I also wanted to show you, now these are just apple seeds I've been collecting. I don't know the parentage of them. I might know one parent, but I wouldn't know the other parent, so I just lumped them together. So they've been stratifying with the rest of them. Now things to note when you go to plant. See how that one is cut? I must have nicked that when I opened the apple up. We don't want to plant that. If this one is extremely flat on one side, the likelihood of it germinating isn't very good, so I wouldn't want to plant that. So these ones I'm going to plant today also, but I'm not going to have you watch every single one I'm planting. Boring. Okay, so this is my box, Cherry Cox and Appaloosa. Now, Cherry Cox is an exceptional apple if you've never tasted it. So it's got the apple flavor, but then it has a slight flavor of cherries too, which I find a great combination. I haven't ever tried the Appaloosa, but the name is very intriguing to me. So I thought this could be a great apple. So in my packet, you can see I have 5 seeds that I bought from Steve. So I'm just going to put those on the soil. And I like to evenly space them. So I'll put them in the 4 corners, and then I'll put one in the center. I lay them on their side. Does it make a difference? I'm not really sure. I'm going to press those down about 1/4 of an inch. And then I'll water them in. I always like to put the name on the side, the date that I did it, and I'm actually going to do a stick in here also. So then we want to find our pendragons. Now, some of the seeds that I bought from Steve, I ordered 5. Some of them I ordered 1. But Steve's generous and he fills your bag very well. But seriously, check him out. You will be amazed. He also has a website too, where that's where you buy the seeds. And I follow him on Patreon. So the thing that he does with his Patreon people is when the seeds or SCIONs go up for sale, you get notified first. So if you're a Patreon subscriber to him, you get to buy them before anybody else. And to me, that is well worth it because he has great apples. So let's take all the seeds out of this one. Oop, I'm almost losing one. Now some apple seeds are larger than other apple seeds, which is interesting. And in this bag, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to do 3 rows of 2. Now you might think that's really crowded, but they don't really stay in here that long. I just need them to start growing, getting some true leaves on there. Oh, I take that back. The other was a little piece of wood. I only have 5, so let's rearrange that a little bit. So we do it just the same. It's kind of like a dice. We're going to push them in 1/4 of an inch. Cover that soil back over. Just throw that sawdust in there because it's just will retain water for me. And as you notice, I'm getting away from plastic, so here's my paper pot. And I'm actually going to set these in a glass container, so I'm not using plastic there either. And then the rest of this time, I am just going to finish with, I bought 6 packets from Steve. No, I take that back. I bought 9 packages from Steve, and all of them a different variety. So I'm totally excited about that. Now, if you grow apples, you have to be patient. Honestly, you probably don't get an apple for 5, 6, or up to 10 years, depending on the apple. Now, ways you can get around that, you can, when it starts to grow, you know, first you have the whip, that's just basically a stick, then it starts to branch off. You can take some of those branches and graft them onto some of your apple trees. And that kind of fools that branch, and it can produce apples earlier. So you can taste it. So if you find out if it's a good apple or if it's a bad apple. My thinking is, even if that apple combination, that parentage, didn't make a great apple, when you plant from seed, that tree is so strong. It's learned to withstand all of your weather because it's grown it since it's been a seedling. And if I don't like those apples, I'll just cut the top part of that tree off and I'll graft it to something else. So it's a win-win when it comes to apples. Now I can hardly wait till springtime, because then we get to walk around my yard and you can actually see everything, and you can see my nursery beds where I have seedlings growing, things that that are just from seed, ones that I've grafted onto rootstock, and a lot of those I'm planting this year because I'm making stepovers with those. So this is Sandi at Apple Cottage, but wait, let's finish with these glasses, because my 1-year-old granddaughter, you got to do stuff for those kids. So this is Sandi at Apple Cottage. Always like, subscribe, share with the world. Click the little notification bell so you can make sure you see videos like this. Have a great day.